Welcome, it is Mitch. I'm on YouTube. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel as we try to build this thing up. I don't know how to feel. Genuinely, I'm not happy. I am kind of pissed. Usually when you present a problem at the table, you should come with a solution. The problem for me, NFL games just can't end in ties. There's no tie games in college football. Why do we have ties at the NFL level? And I know people are going to want, bring a solution to the table. I don't know. I don't know if you want to, I think one of the problems with going the college route, each team gets the ball at the 25-yard line and go crazy. And if both score a touchdown or a field goal, then both get at the 25 again. But if you score, you have to go for two. And third overtime, it's just 2-point conversions back and forth. But usually it doesn't even get that far in college football. Very, very rarely, if a game goes to overtime, does it get to 3 overtimes or 4 overtimes. I know like money matters, and so many people gamble on these games, and prop bets and fantasy football is huge. And I don't know if the solution is go the college route, but just don't count the stats in overtime, because you could have a lot of money just hanging in the balance. Like I could have, one catch for 8 yards, and then in overtime you get the ball at the 25-yard line, and if it goes to 2 overtimes, you could have 2 touchdowns all of a sudden. So I don't know if you just go the college route, but wipe out the stats. I don't know if you just do what you did tonight, but then just keep going, and maybe Dallas gets the ball back, and then it's just next team that scores wins, and then it changes up sort of your method on the coin toss about whether you want to receive or kick. I don't know, but what I do know is you can't have ties in the National Football League. It is so stupid. Like, McManus made that field goal, and I am not embellishing when I say I had multiple buddies text me and say, I think I'd rather lose. And on the surface, it sounds so dumb. It's like you'd rather lose than tie. But I didn't dismiss the statement in those texts right away. I sat back and thought about it. I'd be like, I don't know, because it feels like a loss, right? For so many reasons that we'll dive into. And again, this is an instant reaction, so we just bop around left and right, and then, we'll find a couple specific angles, usually on Monday or Tuesday from the game that we dive into. But this is just all over the ballpark. Mitch, I'm on YouTube again. Please subscribe. It takes 3 seconds to subscribe. Can't have ties. Amongst all the problems with Green Bay, the clock management, turnover at the end of the first half, the defense giving me Joe Barry PTSD flashbacks, all of it, special teams with a couple egregious errors again. Among all of it, I think I'm most pissed off that game ended in a tie and that the NFL allows games to end in ties. You get rid of it. Talk about it in the offseason. Like, they interviewed Jordan Love and Dak Prescott both after the game separately, and neither quarterback was like, "Whew, yeah, that was awesome." And what fan base? Like, the Packers were favored by a touchdown, so this feels really disappointing if you're Green Bay. And while it maybe feels less disappointing for Dallas, Cowboys fans aren't going to bed tonight like, wow, that was awesome. What a freaking game. Incredible. Feeling good about them. So, like, no, what are they, 1-2-1 now, and Green Bay's 2-1-1? Get rid of it. Get rid of ties. Get rid of ties. That was just, it's so stupid. It's so dumb. You can't have it in the National Football League. They don't even have it in college. Clock management down the stretch. I love Jordan Love, no pun intended. There is not a single soul in the world that will be able to convince me, that will be able to present an argument to me, saying that Jordan Love knew what he was doing there down the stretch in that last sequence. He was looking over to the sideline, back of the huddle, trying to orchestrate things on the field, back over to the sideline. They were so nonchalantly going to the ball on that second to last play, the last one being the McManus field goal. I'm just convinced his mind got overwhelmed. That's all right. But I guess you didn't lose even though it feels like a loss, so you can use the whole, this is a good teaching moment thing. And I'm sure Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur will both be asked about it in their post-game press conferences. I click the record button as soon as the game goes final, so I'm not privy to what the question and answers look like in those press conferences. But I'm sure if you ask Jordan Love or Matt LaFleur, they'll be like, oh, no, we kind of cut it close. It's like, yeah, no, that clock very easily could have gone to triple zeros instead of leaving you a second. Dak, however, in his post-game interview on the field with NBC said, it was a little fishy that there was a second left. Like, dude, there was a second left. It's your home clock operator, right? Like, if anything, they're going to let that extra second tick off if it's even hanging in the balance. Like, it was really close, right? But there was a second left. But nobody can convince me that Jordan Love was like in control of that situation and knew exactly what buttons he was pushing, because that last play could have gone so bad. One more second and it's triple zeros. It's an incomplete pass, and you don't even get McManus jogging out on the field to punch one through the uprights so you can finish in this glorious 40-40 tie. I don't know if he was overwhelmed by the moment. I don't know. We don't know, what he's hearing in his helmet from LaFleur, the clock management. It's not just on Jordan Love. How about this? Green Bay gets it to 1st and 10 at the 12-yard. I got to look. I want to know the exact time because I don't want to embellish. 32. Okay. Green Bay had it, folks. 1st and 10 at the 12-yard line. Dallas is 12. No timeouts. 32 seconds left. And they go pass play at or behind the line of scrimmage. Nothing doing. Pass play at or behind the line of scrimmage. Nothing doing. And I think they actually they had a timeout, didn't they? I thought they took a timeout after one of those. Maybe not. After the golden reception, excuse me. So they go 32 seconds pass, nothing. No, minus yards, -3. Pass at or behind the line of scrimmage to Emmanuel Wilson, lose another yard. And then it's complete chaos getting everyone up to the line. 1st and 10 at the 12. Matt LaFleur against Matt Eberflus. Offensive mind versus defensive mind. A matchup historically that Matt LaFleur has owned. And look, Green Bay put up 40 points tonight. Pretty damn good on offense. Couple of hiccups, mistakes, pre-snap penalties on the offensive line are driving me absolutely insane. The strip sack at the end of the first half, inexcusable. But the offense put up 40 points. So some might say, are you really going to nitpick the offense after they put up a 40 spot and you finished in a tie? The clock management, I can't excuse it. The play calling there. 1st and 10 at the 12 with half a minute to go, 32 seconds to go. Why are you not going for the jugular? Is it I don't know if I fully trust Jordan Love thing from Matt LaFleur, which he would never, ever admit, nor should he ever admit? Or did he really think that whatever that was, it was almost like I don't think it was an RPO. It was a straight little bubble pass screen out there to Matthew Golden, and Romeo Doubs just was late to the party, and Diggs got in there and tackled him. Like, did he think that play was going potentially to the end zone? Because if not, you're getting tackled and bounced, and then you're racing up the line, timeout, yes, no. And then when you're out of them, you draw up another little dump off to Emmanuel Wilson, where there's a high probability that if it's not a touchdown and he catches it, he's going to be tackled in bounds. And he was tackled in bounds. I did not understand. You had Dallas on the ropes. How do you not go for the jugular there? And you can say hindsight's 20/20. And if the blocking's, all polished up on that Matthew Golden play, maybe he, leapfrogs into the end zone. Or if the blocking is polished up, maybe Emmanuel Wilson finds a way to get out of bounds. But that didn't happen. And those plays are more low probability than just trying to draw something up like you did earlier in the second half when Romeo Doubs on a deep slant, boom, pitch and catch touchdown. Now, it's not always going to be that easy. But to not go for the jugular there and to draw up two plays where it's passes at the line of scrimmage or right around there, I was confused by that, why you don't go for the jugular. Now, I was so pissed that the game ended in a tie that initially I thought, I wonder if there was any consideration to go for it. But it was at, the 15, 16-yard line. It doesn't matter that it was 4th down. There's 1 second left. It's the last play anyways. If it was at, the 6 or 7, I would really, really like to know if LaFleur goes for it there. We'll never know. Hopefully Green Bay's not in this spot again. But the 15, 16-yard line where they were at, that you're really pushing your luck. Dallas is probably just lining up dudes at the goal line, rushing maybe 3, and then just pushing 8 back. And then you're really talking about having to thread a needle. So I get kicking the field goal. I don't get the clock management. I don't get the 2 play calls when you had it 1st and 10 at the 12-yard line. I don't. And there's a reason I'm not a coach. I'd be horrible at it, right? Doesn't mean I can't objectively look at something and say what I think a lot of people are thinking, and that those 2 play calls back-to-back when you had it 1st and 10 at the 12-yard line stunk. You didn't go for the kill shot. You didn't go to try to win the game. I am not going to sit here and say, hey, Green Bay basically played for the tie, but man, it sure felt like it. It didn't feel like they played for the win there with those play calls at the end. I'm just looking at my notes. Mitch, I'm on YouTube. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Always appreciative of all the support. Start of the game, yeah. First drive, I just put poetry in motion for Green Bay, and then Dallas went run, punt. And I'm thinking, whew, I know they don't have CeeDee Lamb, but is Dallas just going to try to control clock, limit possessions? What are we doing here? And then the second drive was ruined by a holding call on Jordan Morgan. Special teams. I love Rich Bisaccia. Like, he's a genuinely good dude. And I can't stand that whenever there's a mistake on special teams, everyone's just like, Bisaccia. I can't stand that. On that blocked field goal against Cleveland last week, was everyone lined up in the right position? Yeah. Did everyone know their assignment? Yeah. To an extent, I had to say player just has to execute his assignment. On this extra point, was everyone lined up correctly tonight? Yep. Does everyone know their assignment? I sure hope so. Otherwise, why are they out there? Like, everyone rains on Bisaccia. I hear you. Some of these, to me, are just player has to do their job. And on that extra point, it's inexcusable. And you can, if you want to play that game where you're like, well, if that extra point doesn't get blocked and ran back and it's 14-0 instead of 13-2, does this game even go over? Like, we can play that game all you want. I'm not going to sit here and talk about it for an hour. If you want to play that game, that's completely fine. There's no doubt the special teams, and it's in more than one area, are still kind of in limbo. I will say this. I have no worries about Brandon McManus. Like, that dude's as good as a kid. Like, when he came out for that kick, was it a 53-yarder at the end of regulation just to get it to overtime? Give me a second. Field goal. I think it was 53. 53-yarder at the end of regulation. I don't know if you guys and gals felt this way. I am not being facetious at all. When McManus came out for a 53-yarder, my worry was not McManus. I swear to you, I was not thinking, oh my gosh, is he going to make or miss this? My thought was he's gonna drill this, but will it get blocked? Will protection hold up on the field goal unit? Because we have now seen in back-to-back weeks, Cleveland block a field goal and Dallas block an extra point, and Dallas ran it back for 2 points in this game. I promise you, when McMahon, and maybe, I actually don't think I'm in the minority. I'm sure there were many of you, now that I'm kind of thinking about this out loud, I'm sure there were many of you that when McManus trotted out there for the 53-yarder, which is crazy how it almost feels like in today's game, it's not a gimme, but it feels like if you have a good kicker, you like your chances. And Green Bay's got a really good kicker. And when he jogged out onto the field, I never for a second thought, man, what if he pushes this or hooks it and misses it? It was, can protection hold up? And I mean, he split it right down the middle. Same thing in overtime. I mean, overtime, of course, was a chippy field goal. But my thought was not, oh my gosh, what if McManus caves into the moment? It was, is protection going to hold up? I will say this. Blocked extra point in this game, blocked field goal last week. I will raise you and say I have more concerns in the punt return game. It is very clear, through no fault of his own, Matthew Golden is uncomfortable right now as a punt returner. In the first half, he should have gone up and fielded one. He stopped at the last second, backed up a little bit, let it bounce, then got it on a hop, ran forward for a couple yards. And then we all know what happened on the other one where he ran up towards it at the last second, did a spin move, and then got absolutely popped. I still have no idea how he held onto the ball. This is something I had said last week to some buddies. Not after these two returns tonight. I was like, I really hope Matthew Golden, if it's practice reps that he needs, I hope he gets as many as he possibly can, because obviously he is a wide receiver first. I am truly at a point, and I expressed this to some friends tonight via text, and they said they have had similar thoughts. Again, I'm not embellishing. I am at a point with the punt return group where I would prefer the Packers to just put someone back there and fair catch it every time. Under no circumstance do you not fair catch it unless, hey, my heels are pinned at the 10-yard line and the ball's going over my head. I'm going to let it bounce. You know, if it sticks at the 3-yard line, hat tip to the punter. Odds are it's probably bouncing into the end zone. Give me a punt returner that is going to just fair catch it every time. And I'll bite the bullet that way. It doesn't matter who is back to return punts. I'm chewing my fingernails. Not literally, but figuratively. I'm chewing my fingernails. It feels like you're just waiting for chaos on a play that should be fairly routine. And we saw it twice in this game with Matthew Golden. Put someone back there. They ended up putting Romeo Doubs back there. I don't know if the solution is bring McCole Hardman back. He was on the practice squad and then released. I don't know. Again, I'm presenting a problem without a solution. I actually have a solution. Have him fair catch it every time. The solution I don't have is who do you put back there? It is just increasingly obvious that Matthew Golden is not the most comfortable out there. One name that we used to see in the kick return department, Keyshawn Nixon. Now it's Savion Williams and Bo Melton. And I've liked what I've seen from Savion Williams on kick return. Tonight was more of a mess because Aubrey was just pinning them at the 1, and then they'd bounce in the end zone. There were a couple times where Savion had to scoop it on a bounce, take it in the end zone, then you get at the 20 instead of the 35, which is a huge, huge deal. That's 15 yards of difference to start a possession. Aubrey's the best in the business at kickoff and kicking field goals. Dude's a monster, game changer, complete game changer at the kicker position. But Keyshawn Nixon used to return those kicks, and I'm watching Keyshawn Nixon tonight. Couple of beautiful PBUs in one-on-one coverage. I'm not there yet. I'm slowly coming around to the idea that Keyshawn Nixon might be a CB1 like a true CB1 for Green Bay. Now, is he cut from the same cloth as some of the best in the business? I'm not going that far. But in terms of my worry entering, times last year and then this year, last year when Jair was out, and then this year where, Jair's gone, and now Keyshawn Nixon is at the top of the pecking order, and I had my reservations about it. He has been as good as it gets. Now, the flip side of that, I will have to go back and watch, and I'm sure many of you do too, or maybe there's just a small select few of us that are crazy and go back and watch the All-22 a lot of the time. I will say I don't do it every game, but I do it a lot of games. Nate Hobbs seemed to get picked on over and over and over and over again in this game. I will have to go back and look, but it seemed like Nate Hobbs was in coverage a lot of times in man, giving up some chunk plays, giving up at least 2 touchdowns that I remember. And I saw that confirmed via Next Gen Stats, I think it was, or someone tweeted it out via Next Gen Stats. Nate Hobbs has the personality on the field of like a bully. Like, you want Nate Hobbs on your side. He's a bully. He doesn't take any crap. Tonight he was bullied. Not a good showing from Nate Hobbs. There was that one, was it an out route to George Pickens? Am I remembering this correctly? And then he turned back inside and Carrington Valentine completely whiffed, and Pickens galloped down the near sideline and into the end zone for a touchdown. I'll have to go back and watch CV's reps and snaps. That one was not good. The technique was not good. The positioning was not good. Outside of that, and I'm sure I'm missing something, I don't remember a lot of egregious mistakes from Carrington Valentine. Nate Hobbs had a very rough night. He had a very rough night. I will also say this. The defense was put in a brutal spot at the end of the first half. Again, it wasn't an interception by Jordan Love. He nearly had one the play before or 2 plays before when he was looking for Romeo Doubs, and he overshot it a little. And it was nearly a pick right at the end of the first half. Let me see how much time was left. Green Bay's up 13-10. I mean, where are we at? Green Bay's up 13-10. It's 1st and 15 at your own 27 with less than 30 seconds to go. And Love gets strip sacked, and the Cowboys jump on it. And 1 play later, Dak finds George Pickens for a touchdown. I just talked about this last week. I just wrote an article about this last week about situational interceptions for Jordan Love that have been backbreakers. And I referenced the pick 6 against Kirby Joseph at the end of the first half. I referenced the interception at the end of the San Francisco game in the playoff a couple years ago when he was throwing cross-body off platform, and you had timeouts and plenty of time to work with just to get into field goal range to try to tie it, although knowing Anders Carlson probably wouldn't have made it anyways. And then I'm missing the one against Cleveland. last week, Grant Delpit's pick, where if you don't throw that pick, you punt it away, and your defense probably holds serve because Cleveland had scored a grand total of 0 touchdowns up to that point, and it was midway through the fourth quarter, late in the fourth quarter. And those were situational interceptions, like ones that lacked situational logic, and I was putting them on Jordan Love. The fumble is in large part because of a blown assignment on the offensive line. I think it was Rasheed Walker on the left side. Don't quote me on that, though. I'll have to go back and check. Some of it does go on Love, though, not stepping up in the pocket, not knowing his surroundings, not knowing what's going on around him. I know he's got a million things to diagnose in front of him and down the field, but Jordan Love is not exempt from some blame for that strip sack at the end of the half. And again, it's another scenario where your worst case scenario, 1st and 15 with 21 seconds left in the half. At your own 27. Worst case scenario is we're leading 13-10 at half. No, you're not. Now it's 13-9, excuse me. 13-9 because it was a blocked extra point ran back. Excuse me. So your worst case scenario is we're winning 13-9 at half. And you make another inexcusable turnover. It's not all on Love. And one play later, snap of a finger, Dak to Pickens, and you're down 16-13 at halftime. It is another one of those where you just can't have it, and it drives you absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Mitch, I'm on YouTube. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I'm very indifferent. I'm definitely more pissed than happy. It's a tie. I mean, no one wants a tie game in the National Football League. There was a stretch in that game. I want to go back to the secondary for a second. And the defense as a whole. Now, I know Green Bay wasn't generating a lot of pressure on Dak, and Micah Parsons missed a chunk of the game, back injury, and then I think they had the independent neurologist check for a concussion, and he missed some time and then came back in, and Devontae Wyatt left with a knee injury, and he didn't come back in, so you were missing some heavy hitters for large portions of the game. I get that, but you still have Lucas Van Ness, you still have Carl Brooks, you still have Rashawn Gary, you still have Kingsley Nabar, you still have pieces in place. Not a lot of pressure was generated on Dak. I get that. There were times in this second half, and I think I mentioned it earlier, it looked like a very nonchalant, very laid-back scheme, play calling for the defense. I mean, Dak wasn't pressured, again, for large portions, but Dallas was also just hitting on some simple little out routes. It was like, okay, they're playing 8, 9, 10 yards off. We'll take 5, 6 yards. And I get you're going to have ups and downs throughout the duration of a season, but there were so many times. I won't say so many. There were quite a few times where it was like, why it felt like Hafley wasn't stepping on the gas. He wasn't stepping on the accelerator. Hafley wasn't acting. He was reacting to what Dallas was doing instead of forcing the issue. And I love Jeff Hafley. I wish he could be the DC for the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years, but that dude is going to be a head coach sooner rather than later. Tonight was not the best, and it wasn't just Hafley's play calls. It was, missed tackles. I thought Edgerrin Cooper missed some tackles. I'll have to go back and watch. Just like uncharacteristic ones. But yeah, the secondary, in large part, not great. And some of it was the play calling, just willing to give up 5, 6, 7 yards at a time. You can't. It gave me Joe Barry flashbacks, and no Packer fans, no disrespect to the man, want Joe Barry flashbacks. And so I thought it was a pretty conservative, especially in the second half. Dallas had a stretch, folks, where they had 5 touchdowns and 6 drives. Now, if I saw the stat correctly, the Cowboys, I believe, had 7 touchdowns in the first 3 games combined, and they had 5 and 6 drives in this game. And George Pickens went nuclear. Imagine what CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens would have done on the field if they were out there together. CeeDee Lamb missed this game. You never root for injuries, but he was out. And if you're a Packers fan, you count your lucky stars that CeeDee Lamb was not out there. Not good from the secondary. I wasn't crazy about the play calling. It seemed very reserved, very hesitant, very pulled back. I don't know how much the injuries up front had to do with that. I don't know how much of it had to do with Green Bay was generating. I'm sure a lot of it had to do with these first few weeks. The Packers didn't blitz a lot under Hafley last year. They were 29th, I believe, in blitz percentage, or blitz rate, I should say, entering this game, 29th out of 32 teams. The good thing was generating a lot of consistent pressure, rushing just 4. And so you don't need to bring a lot of blitzes. You needed it tonight, I think, and it just felt very laid back. It felt too reactionary for me for the play calling on the defense. But Jeff Hafley's been so damn good. Hopefully this is just a blip on the radar. I don't think this is a sign of things to come. I don't think the defense is collapsing. I think I told you guys in the Final Thoughts video, Dak's a really good quarterback, and I get agitated when I see how he's talked about and how he's perceived nationally. It's like he's the butt of the joke sometimes, and I know there's a lot of pressure that comes with being the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, and it's instantly raised expectations. Dak Prescott, there's a lot of teams that would say, yes, sign me up for Dak Prescott being my QB1. Like, Dak's really good. Has he had the most, star-spangled playoff success? No. Has he had a ton of big moments and big games where he takes over the spotlight? Maybe not necessarily, but Dak is a really good quarterback, and we saw that in this game. We really did. I mean, they put up 40 points. What did the Packers give up combined in the first 3 games? Because it wasn't much. They gave up 13 to Detroit, 31. Wow. First 3 weeks, Green Bay gave up 44. 18, 13, 13. 44. And they gave up 40 in this game to Dallas. What were Dak's final numbers? I mean, Dak was slinging it. 31 of... Oh, I was wrong about something. I'll get to that in a second. I was wrong. Dak was 31 of 40, 319 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, sacked once. I said in the Final Thoughts video, and I was wrong about this, and it's right on the number. I said in the Final Thoughts video, if Dak Prescott throws 40 or more times, Green Bay wins this game. Because my logic was, if Dak's throwing 40-plus times, Dallas is playing from behind. Dallas is trying to play catch-up. They're likely down 2 scores. We see these box scores sometimes that are inflated for quarterbacks where they throw it 45 times, but a lot of it's meaningless yards and garbage time and trying to play catch-up down 2-3 scores, and you get a couple extra touchdowns, maybe 1. I said if Dak throws it 40 or more times, Green Bay wins this game. Dak threw it 40 times right on the screws, and we finish, ironically, he throws it 40 times, and we finish in a 40-40 tie. Let me get a couple final thoughts in. I don't want to be too long-winded because we'll get back into some more stuff probably on Monday. Ground game. The ground game, pretty non-existent for 3 quarters. Started really, really, really worrying about, the offensive line, the run-blocking game, and I know you're missing Banks. I know you're missing Zach Tom. You're missing Belton tonight, so you're quite literally on your 3rd-string right tackle. Josh Jacobs has not gotten it going this year. I don't know what started to click. I don't. I'm not a tactician. When I'm watching these games on TV, for the most part, I'll say. But Josh Jacobs got it going. What was it, late 3rd quarter, 4th quarter, ripped off some big runs. Then he had like a cut on his knee, and he had to come out. And then Emmanuel Wilson had a couple nice runs. The running game, I got to find final numbers. So Jacobs' average entering tonight was 3.1 a carry, career low. 3.9 tonight, which is still below his career average, I think, at 4.3. There was 4.3 to start the year, and he was at 4.4 last year. 3.9, but it's far better than the 3.1 he had entering tonight. 22 carries, 86 yards, 2 touchdowns for Jacobs. Emmanuel Wilson, 8 carries, 44 yards, and only a long of 13, meaning like he just had some really good runs. 8 carries, 44 yards, 5.5 yard per rush average for Emmanuel Wilson. So the ground game was really, really scaring me again. And then they ripped off some big ones, so hopefully that's some momentum going into the bye week. And then I will firmly stamp my name on this. I've said it a couple of times, but maybe I needed a little more conviction. I am, and I know some of you aren't, and that's fine. I am all aboard giving Romeo Doubs an extension. I don't know how likely it is. I would say right now maybe it's more likely he walks in free agency and the Packers don't try to get something done. Time and again, and I know Reed's out, and I know Watson's out, but time and again, even last year, when one or both of those guys were in the lineup, Romeo Doubs, when Green Bay's in a pinch, when Green Bay needs to make a play in the red zone, when Green Bay needs to move the sticks, Romeo Doubs, very, very often, I can't say all the time, because remember that 4th down in overtime, down 3, had to have it. 4th down and 6, and he went to Matthew Golden, boom, right on the buttons. The rookie moved the sticks. But more times than not, that go-to guy, is he a number one wide receiver? Is he an alpha? Is he in the same class as Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase? No. And Romeo Doubs will probably never be, a number one wide receiver in terms of a guy who gets, 100-plus targets a year, 1,000 yards, 10 to 12 touchdowns. This dude is the guy for Jordan Love when Green Bay's in a pinch or when they need something. They had those 2 short touchdown passes to Romeo Doubs. That's Dobbs' plays. Those are Dobbs' plays. You trust him. And they were different. You remember the first short one? Dobbs went to the outside. Over the top throw, went up, got it. Second one, went inside. I don't know if they tried jamming him in the corner. I don't know what corner was in coverage. Dobbs got inside on a quick little slant, quick hitter, boom, another touchdown. He had 3 tonight. 3 in this game against Dallas. This is not something new that I'm saying if you watch my videos. I'm just saying it with more conviction now. I know Watson got a 1-year extension. Awesome. If healthy, he means so much to this offense. You have Dobbs in the last year of his rookie deal. Next year, you'll have Reed and Wicks on the last year of their deals. And you have Savion Williams and Matthew Golden as rookies who are both getting implemented more and more and more as the weeks carry along. You can't keep everyone. I know that. I'm just saying Romeo Doubs, those touchdown passes, some people are going to think I'm crazy for saying this, but you're going to have to listen to how I phrase it. Those touchdown passes, the short ones, the first 2 from Love and Romeo Doubs, they are not Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. But I cannot lie, on those 2 touchdowns, the rhythm and the chemistry, just being on the same page without having to look at each other like, dude, just knowing where Dobbs wants that ball in the first one as he goes up for it on the outside, knowing where Dobbs is going to be on that second one, when that's a quick boom. That's not a look, boom. That's a quick boom, boom, boom on that quick little hitter on that slant. They are not Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. The chemistry, the timing, the rhythm, there's similarities. Again, I'm not calling Jordan Love Aaron Rodgers. Let me make that clear. And I'm not calling Romeo Doubs Devontae Adams. But on those short touchdown passes, both of them, I was like, how many times did we see Rodgers and Adams do that throughout the years? And before Adams, Jordy Nelson, how many times? First and goal at the 1, second and goal at the 1, whatever it is. Everyone thinks you're running. It's like, I like my odds out here one-on-one with this guy. Devontae Adams, Jordy Nelson. Jordan Love's like my odds here with this guy, Romeo Doubs. Quick slant. I like my odds with this guy. Top of the screen. Going to the outside. I'll throw it up to him. It's either his ball or it's incomplete. It brought back those memories tonight of how many times did we see that with Rodgers would be so quick with his drop and just boom, get it out right away. They are not Rodgers and Adams, but it at least brought back some of those memories on those short touchdowns. I want Romeo Doubs to stick around. I want Romeo Doubs to stick around for the long haul. I know last year he had that hiccup where he was frustrated, I think, with his role or a game plan and missed a practice, didn't tell anyone, and they got suspended for a game. That seems like it's so we're seeing emotion from Romeo Doubs, like celebration, excitement this year, which usually he's very reserved. And I don't know if you see the videos that the Packers social team puts out. It's very apparent and very evident that his teammates rally around, like they like being around the presence and the company of Romeo Doubs. I hope, I don't know how likely it is, how realistic it is. I want Romeo Doubs around for the long haul. Great game for him. 3 touchdowns, career high. 40-40 tie, folks. No one feels good about it. Dallas fans know. Green Bay fans know. Just, I don't know. You go into the bye week 2-1-1, you're kind of scratching your head. There's a lot to clean up, and hopefully you get healthy, starting with the offensive line. But yeah, you don't feel good about a tie. Even though you ended it on a field goal that you had to make or else you would lose, you don't, you're not putting head on pillow tonight like, whew, okay, what a game. It's just, NFL's got to fix it. Let me know what you guys and gals think. It is Mitch. I'm on YouTube. Always appreciative of all the support. We'll see you next time.